Welcome to another episode of Dr. James Beckett's Sports Card Insights. I promise today will be about sports card insights, but as you can see from the day today, which is Good Friday, and I don't usually do episodes on Sundays or holidays, but I'm kind of making an exception today. And they say you shouldn't talk about sex or politics or religion when you're at a party or you're in a social setting, but Good Friday's Good Friday. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the aspects of ethics that, although not exclusively founded in Christian faith, certainly our Judeo-Christian culture and founding in America set a basis for ethics. And I'm here with Joe Davis, who I think strives to be an ethical dealer and businessman as I did, and as fellow Christians, followers of Christ. Actually, it's better to be a follower of Christ, Joe, than be a follower of Christians.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because Christians are human beings like both of us who occasionally mess up. So
yep.
We're going to talk about being an ethical dealer, an ethical businessman in this industry. And again, you could be many friends in the industry who are Jewish, who are outstanding business men and women. But what do you? How do you react to that? As you're a Christian,
sure,
and you're ethical, I presume that goes hand in hand, and you're conducting your business according to a standard.
Yes, I mean my foundation for the way I conduct my business, the way I live my life, is found first of all in my relationship with Jesus Christ. The principles that I live by are found in His Word. And so people often hear me talk. I talked at the industry summit last year about we in our business follow the biblical model of servanthood. Is because that was demonstrated first by Christ. And so of serving, we believe in the principle of serving our customers. And we believe in, as far as ethics go, my foundation is what does the Bible teach me about what is right, what is wrong.
It's not simple.
It's not.
And sometimes it's kind of impossible. But do you know a lot of Scripture? I'm not going to try to put you on the spot too much, but Philippians 2:3 is consider others more important than yourself.
Yes.
Do you see that helping you in your business? Because it kind of sometimes means going the extra mile.
Sure, it does.
And yet Philippians 2:4 is do not merely look out for your own personal interest, but also the interest of others. Regardless of your faith perspective. That sounds pretty
Those are pretty
good.
Rock solid. Yes,
so, but consider others better. Do I really want in this industry to have somebody else get the better of me in a deal?
I see it more as if you treat them fairly. We go for win-win scenarios. When someone sells me a collection, yes, I have to pay less than I plan to resell it for, but that doesn't mean I can't give them a fair price. If I'm paying them a number that they likely can't get anywhere else, then they're coming out good. I'm coming out good if I believe I can sell that at a profit. So I go for win-wins rather than win-lose. And part of that is trying to find a.
Okay, but most people, we live in a culture that, for the most part, honors the 10 Commandments. Sixth Commandment, don't think you're murdering anybody.
No.
Seventh Commandment, hopefully you're not committing adultery. Eighth Commandment is about not stealing.
Right.
Okay. Now certainly we're not going to steal. Now you get to the ninth commandment, which is bearing false witness. I've been in a situation when somebody came in and said, "Here's my collection. Will you buy it? And how much will you give me?" And I say, "How much do you want?" And they say, "Well, what will you give me?" And I say, "How much will you want?" So if I'm buying a collection, I don't want to bear false witness. I don't want to. If the collection's worth $1,000, I don't want to offer him $100.
Right.
On the other hand, I don't want to offer him $900 either.
Exactly.
Okay. So if he asks me what's it worth, and again, I'm the price guide guy, but I'm supposed to be this ethical business guy too. I don't want to tell a lie, and I don't want to do a lie of omission either.
Exactly.
Okay. But if I say I'm not going to tell you what I think it's worth, I'm just going to tell you that this is my offer. It's worth more than that, and I encourage you to go shop around.
Right.
Because somebody may want to pay more than that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think my offer is inconsistent with other offers you'll get, but it's a free world. I'm not going to twist your arm.
Right.
And I bought collections at this, but you see what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I've had multiple times where people brought in a collection and they said, "Here's what I want." And I kind of glanced through it. I was like, "Yeah, that seems fine. I'd buy it." And then after I've been through this twice recently. After we went through it more thoroughly, we're like, that was really too good of a deal. Contacted them, given them more money.
Okay.
But I agree with you.
Let's go on the extra mile.
Well, I agree with you. It's much easier if they come in and they say, "Here's what I want. I'm content with this number," and I review it and I say, "I believe that's a reasonable offer." But many times I've often told them, like, "Look, if you want to take the time, if you want to list these cards individually on eBay, if you want to scan them and you want to answer emails and you want to ship them, you can get more money than I'm offering you. But understand there's a lot of labor involved because it's a part of, and understand you're going to lose 13% on eBay." And you're going to,
that's probably how you'd want your mom or your sister to be treated.
Exactly.
So I mean, if you're doing that, that's in the spirit of thing. Okay, I'm on a roll with the commandments. 10th commandment, don't covet. Okay. Are all collectors guilty of coveting
I've been there,
their
done that.
neighbor's cards?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I want that.
Because
I really want that.
Because, I think the best dealers are collectors at heart, and so, I mean, I literally...
Mostly, it's rare to find a collector, a dealer that has no collecting interest whatsoever.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, just the other week I had a Red Heart Stand Usual. It was one of mine. It was one of my favorites, and it was a consignment card. And I offered it to the customer on behalf of the consigner. And I told him, I said, if you don't buy it, I am, because I love that card. And so he bought it. But I think that's true for all of us. We have that gene in us where we passionately love. Especially certain players, a card will come in. I'm like, Pete Maravich was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So when a nice Maravich rookie comes in, I really want it. Even if I have some. I don't necessarily need it for resale, but I still desire that card. Yes. So it's definitely a fine line, and you have to be careful.
Again, last one on the commandments is the fourth commandment. Do all collectors and dealers break that one too? Honor the Sabbath. I honor it by going to card shows sometimes. Does that count? Is that work? Is that rest? Is that relaxation? It can be, but back in the day, I worked a lot on Sundays.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel right, but
I think all of the commandments are there for our protection, for our good. I know when I work round the clock 7 days a week, it's not good for me. It wears me out. Yeah. And so, but then again,
you're talking to a heart attack survivor here.
Yeah. I was in the hospital with nearly a stroke earlier last year, so I understand. But I would say the great majority of us are guilty of that one. So I think one of the challenges, I have a dear Christian friend, Dennis Warden at Triple Play out in South Dakota, and we often talk about our work schedules, and that's something we all struggle with, trying to balance work, home, church, and to do all the things we desire to do and still find balance in our life and some rest.
One of the things I was thinking about, Joe, is that, if people say, well, Joe's a professing Christian, it's not even necessarily a compliment or even
You're correct.
A very descriptive
the way
kind of
some
thing,
people will say it.
because it is important to profess, but it's even more important. It's like, I was joking, if you're a professing card collector, then you tell people you're a card collector, but if your actions don't line up with it, then you're not really a practicing card collector. I just go to shows and I look around. Right. I don't buy anything.
Right. You're window shopping.
I'm window shopping. And so you're really not getting the enjoyment. Or I'm a collector because my dad was a collector. He took me to shows. We had a great experience, but I never had any cards. To be a collector, you can't just be a professing collector. You've got to be a practicing collector to get the full enjoyment, to get the full participation, and get what I think is a fabulous, fabulous industry. And I don't, like I said, I don't think you have to be a practicing Christian or a practicing Jew to be successful or to enjoy it, but you are given or provided kind of a code.
Exactly.
That's kind of an ethical code. Again, I think there are other ethical codes, perhaps, but.
And can I just simply share what being a Christian really means to me?
Absolutely.
Because there's some who say, that means Joe goes to church, or that means Joe he's of this certain religion or denomination. For me, being a Christian simply means that years ago I came to the realization that I was a sinner and that God had sent His Son Jesus to earth to die for my sins, and I asked Him to forgive me of that and to come into my life. And after that, I came to read His Word more, understand His Word more, and try to apply those principles. As you said earlier, we all fail at that at times.
We like sheep have gone astray.
Absolutely. But I do try to live by those principles, though I do get them wrong, and that's why I'm thankful for forgiveness. I say, Christians are not perfect; we're just forgiven.
Well, I agree. Like I said, I just think when people are collecting or think about buying cards, it's not a good idea to say, I'm going to buy cards from this guy because he says he's such and such. He goes to my church or whatever. Right. It needs to stand on its own merits. On the other hand, like I say, if you're walking the walk and not talking the talk, or you're talking the talk and not walking the walk, I seem like those things ought to match up.
They should.
And when they do, then and somebody as you and I've tried as well to stand the test of time. There's a lot of the people. People have their own opinions about that, but like I say, they need to have their own experience, make their own choices.
Right.
And I find when I'm talking to people about their faith, this isn't a faith-based podcast, but I'm a faith-based guy. I share much in common with you, but they're just not.
Well, to your point about walking the walk and talking the talk, I agree with you in that. My sales pitch to people is not, "Hey, I'm a Christian, please shop with me." It's, "Let me provide great service for you, and then if you want to know why, we make that a principle. Here's why." So we have to demonstrate it, and it doesn't mean whether we're a ball card dealer, whether we're a used car salesman, we demonstrate I was just reading a book on the plane about living like Jesus. We need to demonstrate Christ likeness, and then we have a chance to say, hey, here's why I live this way.
So there are a group of people now, more and more, who do not believe there's anything supernatural. Again,
Right.
the tie into cards is that even with virtual cards and digital cards, there's still the concept that you can get your hands on, and especially with the physical card. But there are people that don't believe there's anything supernatural. If I can't feel it or touch it, and I'm not talking about sentiments.
Right.
I'm talking about that there's any kind of other stuff going on there. And when there isn't, well, of course, then you don't believe in God.
Right.
Well, then you wouldn't believe in the Bible. You wouldn't believe in a lot of things. And it doesn't. I'm not saying that means you can't be ethical, but there's a natural thought that I want to do what's good for me, and anything above and beyond that it can be kind of unnatural. And yet there's the biblical message that calls us to just that in the example of Jesus' sacrifice.
Yeah. And I always talk to people about, well, I live a moral life. I'm like, well, where does that morality come from? There's got to be a foundation somewhere. Where did laws first start? The foundation was, in what God taught us. So,
but again, getting back to Sports Card Insights, I mean, basically somebody that does that would probably be, and like I say, whether they're Jewish or Christian, if they're hanging out their shingle to say, this is my standard, and I'm going to conduct my business this way, and you can hold me to it. To me, that'd be very positive. And you have a great reputation.
Yes.
But my guess is you're not hiring only Christians.
No.
And you're not
And
serving
no, I don't
only
have
Christians.
I don't have a policy that's no.
That would be wrong.
No.
That'd be wrong. So anyway, well, this has been a divergence from our normal episode, but thanks for sharing some time with me, Joe.
Sure thing.
As we contemplate Good Friday, and hope. I guess I don't hope anything. It's Sunday is Easter,
Yes.
and that's a great Sunday. And if you're not sure what that means, go check out a good church.
Yes, you find a good Bible-believing church, and they'll tell you what it's about.
Okay. And if not, I'll see you all on Monday with another episode. So thanks, Joe. Thanks, listeners.
Yep.
Be back on Monday, and happy Easter.
The man in the house who called